Your beat intros can literally make or break the decision between you landing that big placement or completely missing out forever. Picture this, you finally get your big moment to share some beats with a popular artist. You finally catch your break. This is it. The artist clicks play on your beat, and after about 15 or 20 seconds, the beat hasn't dropped and nothing has really changed. So they skip it, on to the next, and boom, just like that, you miss your opportunity. In this video, I'm gonna show you 5 different techniques that will capture the listener's attention right away and have them on the edge of their seat waiting to hear the drop. Let's get right into it. The mini fake out intro is great for pretty much any kind of beat because it has you wondering like, what's going on? What's about to happen? And before you know, boom, the beat drops and it's on, baby. There's a couple ways you could do this. In the example of this beat, I chose to do a 4-bar intro. What I did is I took part of the melody here and I dragged it in and did some tweaks to make it sound drowned out and even crazier. First off, let's take a listen to this. So I wanted the intro to evolve and seem like it's going somewhere. So I took that last 2 bars there, or 4 bars, set it over here, and added some halftime. I put on the 2-bar setting because I like how that sounded the most. So definitely play with those when you're using halftime. But I wanted to go ahead and throw some reverb in there as well to have it kind of swell in, like mix in as it gets to the end there. Throwing on an Ableton reverb here, we gave it kind of a smaller sort of a size and a long decay, and we're just automating the dry or wet right here as it's coming in. Let's take a look. But what you'll notice is that when you add reverb or effects like that, it's going to kind of increase the volume a lot. And I don't want this to really ride out for a long time. I kind of want it to end right away. So what I lastly wanted to do to really make this intro pop is to automate the volume level on the mixer here. Because after about 1 bar afterwards, I don't want to hear it at all. So we're just going to have it fade out ever so slightly. That right there can help you clean up your intro a ton. And of course, you don't want the lows to be interfering with the drop of your beat, right? You don't want your 808 to be competing with the reverb and the craziness from that intro. So I'm always going to make sure at this end of the chain here, I'm chopping out at least at this point. Now, another way you could do one of these short fake out sort of style intros is to use maybe like a vocal or a stab and then have it drop like right after and like confuse you. Be like, wait, what's going on? Check this out. In this beat, I have vocal chants going throughout the first part of the drop here. That sounds like this. Let's go ahead and get this to be a little more in the middle. We'll bring the right down. That's fine. I don't need to go too crazy with it. But let's hear this so far. In fact, let's do this. And we'll make this half as long. And you know, it'd be cool. Go ahead and turn the automations off. Maybe we do this. Let's do the other way though. Let's have it be more transient-y. Adding a little bit of an EQ sweep here just to clean it up even more. Hold up, you didn't know that we had a whole section of free stuff on audio hacks, soft clipper racks, default sets for Ableton, vocal chains, drum kits, Southside sauce kits, man. We got Detroit bass plugs. We got effect racks like the sample machine, the spins kit. Head over to audiohacks.store and check out all of our free downloads. And this one is great for beats that have like really hard drums or heavy hitting basses or 808s. We're gonna introduce the drums just for like a bar or two at the very beginning. So when the listener hears this, they're like, dang, those drums are hard. But then they disappear and they're like, I want to hear that again. So we're just going to take this again for the intro here for 8 bars. And we want the drums to come in right away and hit hard, but then drop off almost immediately too, just to make their little entrance. So I'm just going to take this first bar or so, all to the beginning. We're going to get rid of what we don't need. So let's hear what we got so far. So I think I want to end everything after that snare hit right there. And to make this even crazier, you see we have this little roll at the very end, which kind of rolls off into everything. We can add Ableton's delay on here. We're going to turn this on or off just for that last little part. We're going to turn the dry wet all the way up, and we're going to ping pong it back and forth. And let's try doing this as well. We're going to group it so that it plays the same time as the actual notes. But since we're doing that, we don't want to modulate the device on or off at that point anymore. We're going to do the whole group, and we'll let that play out. So that's sort of an effect you could play with as well. Now, obviously, that is a lot going on, so we're going to turn the feedback down a ton. But does it work with the drop? And we'll also turn this delay chain down a little bit. We want it to be very subtle, and we'll turn the feedback up even a little bit more now. This next one is a banger, bro, because you don't even have to make an intro. It is the no intro intro. And this is a million times better than if you were just to have a standard bullcrap intro that most people leave. So if you just don't want to take time for the intro, don't even have one. So that way, there's no time for anyone to skip your beats. Next up is the halftime intro, and this one is great when you have some complex or rich melodies going on. For this one, I'm going to get rid of all of the drums, and we're just going to leave that melody up here as well. Now let's add a halftime. What if we went into like 4? But yeah, let's go ahead and keep the loop to half, so that way it'll keep kind of the rhythm, even though we're slowing it down so much. And then we're going to automate the mix once it gets to the very end here. Let's go ahead and find an EQ. We're going to find a spot where we can still hear some of what's going on, but it's very, very muffled. That seems like a good place right there. Once you find that, let's go ahead and turn our automation back on. Let's click on this one more time, and then click on the frequency so it knows we're talking about the frequency. Now we'll listen to it. Cool, so that's the very beginning. Now we want to add like a texture or ambiance to kind of fill the vibe. I'm just going to type in ambiance and see what comes up. So let's do that. We're just adding more flutes. We could even find a little tuner here and make sure we have it in the right scale. What I want to do is add a bunch of reverb to this as well. Another thing you could do to spice this up is even add like a perk loop, and you could have that in the background. Maybe you EQ out the highs so it's not as present in there. Maybe it just sits in the background, but it can create like a vibe and some texture. I'm just gonna pick a random loop that's the same BPM here. Next, let's take a look at a classic which has solidified itself in the production community. Some producers have even made this their signature intro sound. And you can do this for as many beats as you'd like, but classically it's just the 4 beats, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You could use a stomp for this. You could use a cymbal, any one shot that you have in your beat already. There is no limit to this. Or you could just take a simple loop. Let's try that first. We're gonna take a quarter of this loop right here. Holding Option or Alt on Windows, you can go ahead and drag everything right here. Let's make sure it's on the same lane though. And we're gonna duplicate that 4 times. There is the repeat, right? So let's get rid of the broken glass. Same with the Vox. We forgot about the bass and the kick. So let's make sure we copy that in as well. And honestly, if you were going to do it like that, you could almost get rid of this third one right here. And you could have the actual drop be that 4 beat repeat, right? You could get crazy with this. You could maybe double up this middle section instead. Double up this kick in 808 here really quick. And that'd be cool to do, yeah, a faster like hi-hat. In fact, let's do like a roll right there. I think that's a perfect opportunity. Put that at the very end. We'll just have the kick come in, not the bass. Yes, sir. So now that you got your beat intros on point, let me show you my top plugins that help me make my beats even more interesting. Check them out right here.